Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. As promised, I'm doing an acquisition video from Blade Show 2019, showing you guys the pieces, again, high level here, that I picked up, why I picked them up, yeah, rambling a little bit. Hopefully this doesn't go too long. Now I will do a separate video where I talk about just Blade Show in general, how it went, you know, what the feelings were, what changed from last year. I'll get into all of that in a separate video. This, we're just going to look at high level at the pieces that I acquired. Now, at the beginning of 2019, one of the concepts or themes or guiding principles, whatever you want to call it, that I talked about was the concept of refine and reduce for 2019. And I've done a fairly good job as far as kind of the refining goes. Reduce, not so much, if at all, maybe not at all. In fact, quite the opposite. Anyhow, I might get to that at some point this year. I might not. You guys, you know how it is, so don't judge. Yeah. All right. And, you know, in prior, you know, that's why I have less pieces here. In prior Blade shows, I've come home with, I don't know, I think maybe it was like 12 pieces last year. This year I did a bit better. I think if I can count, there's only 8, so that's pretty good. Although there's a contingent, and we'll talk about that. So let's start going through it. First piece that I acquired, let's start with this one. This is the steel will, what is it called? Let me grab the box again. This is the Daitengu, we'll call it the F11 since it says F11 on the box. It's a budget offering, and steel will has kind of caught my attention as of late with the Tazo knife, the one with the ant lock that just came out, but this is their other new release, a bit more budget, but it uses, or it utilizes kind of a faux integral backspacer, taking 2 very thick pieces of G10, milling down, so that was pretty neat. I think of the show they were only $70. I imagine that retail will be somewhere in that ballpark. So G10, D2 steel, clean, simple, fairly lightweight, well balanced. So I probably need to do more budget knife videos, but you know, perhaps this will satiate some of you for the time being. So that was one pickup at the show. The other one here, again, more in the budget realm. This is from the Civivi line of knives, which is the budget knives that We Knife produces. This one was actually a gift from the owner of We Knives. I didn't anticipate it. Very cool gift. But I don't know anything about this model. I think it's a prototype, so I don't know the name. I don't know the materials or the specs. This is a dark wood overlay on these on this knife, but what I like about this one is one, it's going to be a great office carry, a pretty slick deep carry pocket clip, lightweight, nice design. It's essentially, to me, just an ever so slightly larger version, get that in focus here, of the Master Op Gent. Perhaps, you know, perhaps not as nice. The liners are a bit thinner, but it's definitely got the same vibe to it, so that's pretty cool. So that's I don't know, budget knife from Civivi. If one of you guys watching, you know, at the time not too long after I upload this, knows what the name of the model is, or, you know, the steel or the type of wood that's used, feel free to drop it in the description box below, or leave a comment, essentially, I'm sorry, and I'll pin it in the comment section. So yeah, nice little office carry. Looking forward to using that one probably quite a bit. All right. Next model, I've been looking forward to this one for about a year. I either saw renders or prototype, or perhaps was told about it and saw the custom about a year ago. This is a collaboration between Blade Runner Systems and their folding line, which is the Evolve line, I believe, and Steve over at Nova Blades, who's a custom maker based on his model, the Nomad. So Tonto blade, pretty thick handles here. It's a chunky little monkey. Titanium liners, I believe, and uses an opening hole to deploy. So nice design, looks good. that Tonto tip is ready for some work. It's not overly thin. So anyways, that is one that I've been looking forward to and finally picked up. So this one will have a video at some point. Moving down the line, I hope you guys will forgive me. This one wasn't actually from Blade Show, but it was just a few days prior to Blade Show, so I just kind of threw it in the mix here, since I could have in theory bought it at Blade Show, but patience is a virtue, just not mine when it comes to fine cutlery. So this is the Custom Knife Factory and Philippe Georget 5th 23. Big old 4-inch front flipper on bearings, diabolically smooth. This thing is a guillotine action, to be sure. And the French, if history tells us anything, they know a thing or two about guillotines. So I'm pretty sure this model, so Custom Knife Factory was at Blade Show. They did bring some of these, and I think they all sold out the first day. They were gone. So it's proving to be a very popular model. If you're not okay with 4-inch knives and this thing's too big and the zirconium looks too heavy, which it's a pretty heavy knife, there will be a smaller, lighter version coming out at the end of 2019, or perhaps, straying a bit into 2020. We will see. But if you're okay with the 4-inch knife, this is very, very impressive. So there's that one, the 5th 23. All right, moving along. You guys have seen this model. Well, you've seen a version of this model before. This is the Guardian Tactical Recon 035, and I have another one. I've had this one for a while. Drop point, two-tone blade sort of affair. But they had this really nice one with brass and the dagger grind. They've upgraded to LMAX steel from CPM 154 on all their knives, and just a very cool piece. At Blade Show, they did have a Blade Show special, which was this model, but it was hard anodized. It was blue, the handle was blue, and it was just a stonewash blade, and they had a very, very compelling price, but it was too close to this one, so I opted for a more unique, more expensive model, a much heavier model, and went with this dagger grind one, because makes it easier to justify having two of the same knife if they're just completely different. So there's that. But yeah, Guardian Tactical Recon 035. Alright, moving along, we've got the Reata Knives Jack 2. I still have the Jack 1. I didn't grab it before I sat down to record. But the Jack 1 came out last year, integral knife, just as the Jack 2 is here. Had a very, very lovely large harpoon style blade. This one kind of takes it a step further in terms of feats of engineering and kind of craziness, and we have an integral handle with a 2-piece blade. So it uses a rather complicated but certainly interesting titanium chassis that goes down, and then they've inserted in the blade a piece of stainless steel M390, and then they've attached the blade to the chassis with screws from the top. So Mike Wynn, had a similar concept. The Kaizen, I don't recall the name right now, but this is certainly a slimmer blade, slimmer chassis than the one that Mike Wynn did. So pretty interesting. And then the way they integrated the stainless steel into the titanium chassis is also rather different. I did post on Instagram a disassembled short video showing what it looks like disassembled. So check out my Instagram feed. I also uploaded a lot of Blade Show coverage there of things that I found interesting. So also check that out for quite a follow-up. Now this one is a 1 of 4 legit prototype. On the locking side you have a hand satin blade, and then on the show side, kind of weird, kind of interesting, but again being a prototype, you have a fully polished blade. But well, no, you have a polished blade, not fully polished. The edges here, you guys see that haze? David said he was experimenting with polishing on blades using this blade specifically, And so the main portion is polished and the outer edges are less polished. I don't know, it's hazy. It's not quite a satin. So yeah, there's that. He told me that, before I purchased it. I was like, dude, I don't care. It's a prototype. I need it, want it for a video. And yeah, it is, it's cool. It's very cool. I'm sure you guys will like the video once I get around to it for this one. Hopefully you will. I don't know if you will, but there's that. All right, coming down to the last two and honorable mentions. So this is where we're getting into the concept of refinement for 2019. These are pieces that I have been waiting at least a year for, or lusting after, thinking about for a year. So the first one, when I entered Blade Show, I made a beeline for Clyde Chalonor's table. This is his new model, the Viper, and he brought 6 to the show, 5 with Damacor, 1 with with Damasteel, not Damacor. Different inlays, carbon fiber, Zerk, Blackwood carbon fiber, Timascus, and this is the one that spoke to me. So as soon as I got in the show, went straight to his table, bought this one, and happy as a clown. Knew he was bringing them, and it was just a matter of which one could I not live without. So now this one is also unique in the sense that he made it in what he calls the South African fashion, which is this one was done on washers, not bearings, and he created it with a much stronger lock bar than usual, because he says this is how they like it in South Africa. Strong lock bar on washers, and I, again, patience is a virtue, just not mine. I said, give me that, even though the bearings one would be significantly smoother, but it's breaking in nicely, and I can front flip it without too much difficulty. So yeah, very cool piece. Been waiting, I don't know, at least a year for it. So there's that. So this was one of the pieces that I was laser focused on acquiring at the show. I went to the show with this piece in mind. So that's one of them. The second one, this is the Todd Bag Astio, and I handled one of these at Blade Show last year, absolutely fell in love, and was just waiting for the right one to pop up. See the mirror polished tip there? I was waiting for the right one to pop up, and it didn't throughout the year. I was bugging Mark about it. Never really happened, but right after I was at Clyde's table, I made a beeline for the Bag Knives table, and under the glass was this piece right here with this beautiful green micarta inlays, flush and mated and contoured and absolutely stunning on both sides here. The cracked ice finish throughout. Got some nice machine turning here on the lock bar cutout. I mean, just an exceptional piece. Been thinking about lusting and wanting one of these for a year now, and so this was perfect, exactly what I wanted, and just happening right place, right time, right build, right show. I'll do an individual video on this one because it definitely merits it. The amount of hand time, handwork, time to build, and I'll see what details I'm allowed to go into. But they're not going to be making very many of these anymore. So if you have your eye on one, don't be shy. All right, now the third piece that I went there for, again, we've got these two. The third piece that is here only in spirit is the Grant and Gavin Hawk Deadlock. Again, a piece when you are trying to refine and have a very specific collection, you need a deadlock. And so I went there. The pieces were lotto only. You run out of cash at some point, but I did do the down payment on the Grant and Gavin Hawk Deadlock. So that'll be coming at some point later this year, perhaps in a couple of months, but that's taking our honorary spot right here. So that is pretty much my, those are my acquisitions at Blade Show 2019. A lot of exceptional pieces. I brought home certainly less than prior years by design. And, at some point this year, I'm actually going to put a valiant effort into that reduce part along with the refine. We'll see when and how and where that happens, but there'll be some individual videos on some of these pieces coming up, and then there'll be the video where I just ramble a little bit about how Blade Show went, what I thought, and so on and so forth, coming soon as well. So again, on my Instagram, I did plenty of short videos of Blade Show coverage. Highly recommend you guys go there and check that out. Give me a follow there, give me a follow here. Appreciate the support. It was super awesome to meet a lot of you guys, see a lot of you guys again, handle a lot of really cool knives, and share some of these with you guys as well, and gals for the 5 or 6 of you at the show. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it. See you guys in the next video.